On December 5, 2024, a police raid in Bali, Indonesia, sent shockwaves through the online content creation world. British adult content creator Bonnie Blue, whose real name is Tia Billinger, was arrested alongside 17 male tourists in what authorities are calling a major violation of Indonesia's strict anti-pornography laws. The 26-year-old from Nottingham now faces up to 15 years in prison and fines exceeding £270,000. But this arrest is more than just a legal story. It's a window into the darker realities of the adult content industry, the risks creators face when working internationally, and the serious mental health toll this industry takes on those involved. Indonesian authorities raided a holiday rental studio in Kuta, Bali, after receiving complaints from local residents about potential pornographic content production. What they found was extensive professional video cameras, large quantities of contraceptives, erectile dysfunction medications, and a pickup truck branded with Bonnie Blue's Bang Bus. According to police reports, Blue and the group of tourists ranging in age from 19 to 40 were allegedly filming content during what Australians call Schoolies Week, an annual tradition where high school graduates take a celebratory holiday after final exams. Blue had publicly advertised her presence in Bali on social media, posting messages specifically targeting young men who were barely legal.
Okay boys, it's only 1 week until schoolies and I cannot wait to be pleasuring you.
Of the 18 people initially detained, 14 Australian men were released without charges and classified as witnesses. However, Blue and 3 others, 1 Australian and 2 British men, remained in custody longer. As of the latest reports, Blue has been released, but her passport has been confiscated, and she must remain in Bali for further questioning. Indonesia has some of the world's strictest anti-pornography laws. Under Indonesian law, producing or distributing pornographic content can result in up to 15 years imprisonment and fines reaching 6 billion rupiah, approximately £270,000. Legal experts suggest that while Blue may face deportation and blacklisting, rather than prison time, the situation remains serious and uncertain. To understand the gravity of Blue's situation, we need to examine why Indonesia has such stringent pornography laws and what they actually prohibit. The 2008 Pornography Act. Indonesia passed its controversial anti-pornography law, Act No. 44, in October 2008. After years of heated public debate. The law was championed primarily by conservative Islamic political parties, particularly the Prosperous Justice Party, and was supported by religious organizations, including the Indonesian Ulama Council. The law defines pornography extremely broadly. It encompasses images, sketches, illustrations, photographs, writings, sounds, moving images, animations, cartoons, or any other forms that contain elements stimulating sexual arousal and violating societal norms of decency. Critically, the law doesn't just target explicit sexual content, it extends to anything deemed capable of raising feelings of lust. The legislation introduced a concept called pornoaksi, literally porn action, which refers to behavior viewed as pornographic or indecent. This vague terminology has proven controversial, as it allows authorities significant discretion in determining what constitutes a violation. Why these laws exist? Supporters of the law argued it was necessary for several reasons. The primary justification was protecting public morality and upholding religious values in a nation where approximately 87% of the population identifies as Muslim. Legislators stated the law was needed to safeguard children and younger generations from moral decline, particularly as Indonesia experienced increased access to sexually explicit material following the fall of President Suharto in 1998 and the subsequent liberalization of media. Proponents also framed the law as protecting what they termed Eastern cultural values against Western cultural imperialism. They argued that pornography was incompatible with Indonesian cultural traditions, religious beliefs, and the national philosophy of Pancasila, the 5 principles that form the ideological foundation of the Indonesian state. The law's stated purposes include shaping and maintaining social order, protecting community ethics, preserving the sanctity of religious values, and upholding human dignity within Indonesia's cultural and religious framework. The law sparked massive protests and continues to generate controversy. Critics, including human rights organizations, artists, women's rights groups, and minority religious communities, argue that the law threatens freedom of expression, women's rights, and Indonesia's cultural diversity. One of the most significant concerns is the law's vagueness. The broad definition of what constitutes pornography and the subjective concept of pornoaksi have allowed authorities to prosecute everything from traditional dances to artistic performances, music videos, and even people's clothing choices. Critics warn that this vagueness gives law enforcement extensive power to target behaviors and expressions they personally find objectionable. The law has been particularly criticized for its impact on Indonesia's minority, Christian, and Hindu populations, whose cultural practices sometimes include traditional dress or ceremonies that conservative interpretations of the law might consider indecent. Tribal communities with indigenous practices have also expressed concern about persecution under these regulations. Multiple constitutional challenges have been filed against the law, but it remains in force and continues to be actively enforced throughout Indonesia. The penalties under Indonesia's Pornography Act are among the harshest in the world. Producing or distributing pornographic materials can result in imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 12 years, with fines between 250 million and 6 billion rupiah. When minors are involved, penalties increase by up to 1/3 of the maximum sentence. Facilitating pornographic activities can carry a maximum sentence of 15 years and fines up to 7.5 billion rupiah. These aren't merely theoretical punishments. Indonesian authorities actively enforce these laws, conducting regular raids on nightclubs, hotels, saunas, private residences, and other locations where they suspect violations are occurring. For foreign nationals like Bonnie Blue, conviction typically results in imprisonment, followed by deportation and permanent blacklisting from entering Indonesia. The case serves as a stark reminder that foreign visitors are absolutely subject to Indonesian law and cannot rely on more permissive attitudes toward adult content from their home countries. To understand how we got here, we need to look at Bonnie Blue's origin story. Tia Billinger wasn't always an adult content creator. Originally working in recruitment in Nottingham, England, she entered the adult industry in 2023 through webcam modeling. She soon launched an OnlyFans account, motivated primarily by the potential for higher earnings than her traditional career offered. "I was bored of living in the 9-to-5, so I'm going to give this a go," Blue explained in a 2024 podcast interview. What started as an alternative income stream quickly became a viral phenomenon, but not necessarily for positive reasons. Blue gained notoriety for her controversial approach to content creation. She specifically targeted young men, particularly those who had just graduated high school or were university students, advertising her location publicly and inviting them to participate in filmed sexual content for free. Her business model involved creating high-volume sexual content with multiple partners, which she would then sell on subscription platforms. The strategy was financially successful. Blue claimed to have earned approximately $6 million from her OnlyFans account in 2024 alone. In one widely publicized stunt, she claimed to have had sexual encounters with over 1,000 men in just 12 hours, an assertion that attracted massive media attention and sparked intense controversy. Blue organized what she called challenges at events like Cancun's Spring Break, Australia's Schoolies Week, and the UK's Freshers Week, all occasions when young people, many newly 18, celebrate educational milestones. She would share her location online and invite young men to participate, often describing them as barely legal in her promotional materials. This approach drew heavy criticism. Many accused her of predatory behavior toward young men and perpetuating harmful ideologies. Even fellow content creators in the adult industry expressed concerns. Annie Knight, another OnlyFans creator who had previously collaborated with Blue, stated that she had tried to warn Blue about the risks of working in countries where sex work is illegal, but that Blue didn't listen. Blue's career faced a major setback earlier in 2024 when she was permanently banned from OnlyFans for violating the platform's terms of service regarding extreme challenge content. Despite this ban, she continued creating content through other platforms and promotional channels. Blue had also been denied entry to multiple countries before the Bali incident. Both Australia and Fiji canceled her visas in November 2024 for working without proper authorization. These red flags evidently didn't deter her from continuing her international content production tours. The Bonnie Blue case opens a window into broader issues plaguing the adult content industry, issues that often remain hidden from public view. Research consistently shows that individuals in the adult entertainment industry face severe mental health challenges. A Swedish study examining 120 individuals who had been filmed in commercial pornography revealed devastating statistics. 84% met the criteria for clinically significant PTSD, 60% reported dissociation, and over 68% had attempted suicide. At least 80% had received at least one mental health diagnosis. These aren't just numbers, they represent real human suffering. The study found that many performers experienced what researchers call polyvictimization, meaning they suffered multiple forms of abuse and trauma both before entering the industry and while working within it. The research revealed that 65% of performers surveyed had been raped while filming content, and many faced continuous online harassment, doxing, sextortion, and stalking. Female performers in particular showed significantly worse mental health compared to other women of similar ages. Depression, anxiety, flashbacks, and emotional numbness were common experiences. One psychotherapist specializing in working with adult performers noted that many receive death threats daily and are often mistreated when family or friends discover their work. Multiple studies have identified common patterns in how people enter the adult content industry. Young age, financial insecurity, previous exposure to sexual violence, and pre-existing mental health issues are typical factors that lead individuals into pornography work. These vulnerabilities create conditions ripe for exploitation. When someone is young, financially desperate, or dealing with trauma, they have less bargaining power and may be pressured into performing acts they're uncomfortable with or working in dangerous conditions. A qualitative study interviewing women in the porn industry found that once involved, performers risk manipulation and coercion by producers and buyers. Many struggle to maintain personal boundaries and regularly receive harassment from buyers requesting specific sexual acts. The greater a performer's vulnerability, the more difficult it becomes to resist demands or leave the industry. Unlike other forms of work, adult content creates a permanent digital record that can follow performers for the rest of their lives. Content continues circulating online indefinitely, often beyond the performer's control. This permanence creates unique psychological burdens and can make it extremely difficult to transition to other careers. Former performers report that this lasting digital footprint leads to ongoing shame, relationship difficulties, employment discrimination, and family estrangement. The knowledge that intimate content will exist forever can contribute to feelings of hopelessness and regret, particularly for those who entered the industry young or under pressure. While success stories like Bonnie Blue's reported $6 million earnings make headlines, they represent a tiny fraction of adult content creators. The vast majority earn very little, with many making less than minimum wage despite the personal and psychological costs. The OnlyFans and subscription content model has been promoted as empowering creators by giving them control over their content and earnings. However, research shows that the platform economy in adult content often replicates the same exploitative dynamics found in traditional pornography production. Creators face intense pressure to produce increasingly extreme content to stand out in a saturated market, leading to a race to the bottom where boundaries are constantly pushed. Many creators report feeling trapped in a cycle where they need to constantly produce content to maintain income. But each piece of content they create further cements their identity as an adult performer, making it harder to pursue other career paths. The adult content industry has been plagued by numerous high-profile scandals that reveal systemic problems with consent, exploitation, and accountability. The Girls Do Porn scandal is one of the most notorious examples. The company's operators were convicted of sex trafficking after a federal investigation revealed they had coerced hundreds of young women into filming pornography through fraud and intimidation. Women were told the videos would only be distributed on DVD in other countries, but the content was immediately posted online destroying relationships, careers, and lives. The case resulted in a $13 million civil judgment and criminal convictions for the operators. Pornhub, one of the world's largest pornography websites, faced a major reckoning in 2020 when investigations revealed the platform was hosting videos of child sexual abuse, rape, and non-consensually filmed content. Major credit card companies cut ties with the platform, and Pornhub was forced to delete millions of unverified videos. The scandal highlighted how inadequate content moderation allows exploitation to flourish at scale. These cases aren't isolated incidents. They reflect structural problems in an industry where profit motives often override performer safety and consent. As the adult content market becomes increasingly saturated, performers face pressure to engage in more extreme acts to maintain viewer interest and income. This dynamic can lead creators to compromise their boundaries and engage in activities they find physically or psychologically harmful. Bonnie Blue's content model exemplifies this trend toward extremity. Her claims of having sex with over 1,000 men in 12 hours, her targeting of young men at vulnerable life transitions, and her promotion of high-volume, extreme sexual content represent the type of boundary pushing that generates attention and income but raises serious ethical questions. Industry researchers note that this pressure to escalate can lead to physical injuries, psychological trauma, and situations where meaningful consent becomes questionable. When someone's livelihood depends on producing increasingly extreme content, the line between voluntary participation and economic coercion becomes blurred. Beyond mental health impacts, adult performers face physical health risks that are often understated or ignored. These include sexually transmitted infections, physical injuries from rough or extreme acts, substance abuse used to cope with the demands of the work, and long-term reproductive health issues. The high-volume content production model that creators like Bonnie Blue employ, with claims of multiple partners in short timeframes, presents particularly acute health risks. Medical professionals have expressed concern about the physical impossibility and health dangers of some of the claims made by extreme content creators, suggesting that even the promotion of such scenarios normalizes dangerous practices. The arrest of Bonnie Blue in Bali represents a convergence of multiple issues: the clash between Western content creation culture and conservative legal frameworks, the risks that international creators face when they fail to respect local laws, and the broader concerns about exploitation and harm within the adult content industry. What happens next? Blue's immediate future remains uncertain. While she has been released from custody, her confiscated passport means she cannot leave Indonesia. She faces potential charges that could result in up to 15 years imprisonment, though legal experts suggest deportation and permanent blacklisting are more likely outcomes for a foreign national in her situation. The Indonesian authorities have made clear they take pornography law violations seriously, and this case has attracted significant media attention, both locally and internationally. The outcome will likely depend on negotiations between Blue's legal representatives and Indonesian prosecutors. This case serves as a stark warning to content creators who work internationally. Laws vary dramatically between countries, and what's legal or tolerated in one nation may carry severe criminal penalties in another. The digital nature of content creation doesn't exempt creators from local law enforcement, and the consequences of violations can be severe and life-altering. For Blue specifically, even if she avoids prison time, the arrest represents a significant turning point. With previous bans from OnlyFans, visa denials from multiple countries, and now a high-profile arrest, her ability to continue her controversial content creation model appears increasingly constrained. Beyond the specifics of this case, the adult content industry faces growing scrutiny over issues of exploitation, consent, mental health impacts, and the treatment of performers. As platforms like OnlyFans have democratized adult content creation, more people are entering an industry without fully understanding the psychological costs, the permanence of digital content, or the limited earning potential for most creators. The research on mental health outcomes, the documented cases of exploitation and trafficking, and the accounts from former performers all paint a picture of an industry that causes significant harm to many who participate in it. While some argue that adult work can be empowering and that consenting adults should be free to create such content, the evidence suggests that the reality for many performers is far darker than the promotional narrative suggests. The Bonnie Blue case reminds us that sensational headlines often mask complex realities. Behind the provocative content and the reported earnings are legal risks, psychological costs, and ethical questions that deserve serious consideration. For young people considering entering adult content creation, this case underscores the importance of understanding not just the potential rewards, but the very real dangers, legal, psychological, and personal, that come with this type of work. As this story continues to develop, it will undoubtedly fuel ongoing debates about internet regulation, cultural differences in sexual expression, and the treatment of workers in the adult entertainment industry. Whatever the outcome, the case has already highlighted issues that society must continue to grapple with as technology transforms how adult content is created, distributed, and consumed.